Hey y'all. Sorry about that. We've been having some technical issues and I know it's late, but welcome to the double dose episode of Steph and Cat Talk. Wow. We are talking major tag team drama within the Fab Four and lots of other crazy development in the trios division and not a lot when it comes to the Wild World Championship on this amazing International Women's Day. This is Steph and Cat Talk. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home with the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us, I was kinda late, so I just made it up the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with
Hey y'all, it's a new episode of Steph and Cat Talk Wild brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. Of course, I'm your girl Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of HWP, HWP Extra, as well as writer for Daily DDT and color commentator featured on multiple platforms. Sadly, my tag team partner Katrina of In Cat We Trust is not here with me because she is on mom duties. And when you are a mother, it's you are a superhero, okay? And there is so much that has to get done. Her and her amazing children are just being active with each other. So that's what's going on. That's why she's not with me tonight, but she's here in spirit. Kat, I miss you so much. I hope you'll be able to come back on the next episode. But it's just me, Oos, day one ish. So yeah, I'm here to talk about the last two amazing episodes of Wow Women of Wrestling Superheroes. And of course, happy International Women's Day. It is the day of the woman, and I am so happy to be a woman, to be a black woman, a Southern black woman at that, because we do amazing things. We speak out when it's necessary, and we are super strong. But of course, every woman is strong and unique in her own way. And I just wanted to start this woman centric show by wishing everyone an International Women's Day. And I hope you're loving on all the women in your life and just fighting for justice in so many different ways and continuing to show appreciation to the women who just continue to create and innovate. And even if they don't create and innovate, they are still amazing in their own way, no matter what journey that they're on or what stage they're in life. We are all amazing in our own unique and special ways. So happy International Women's Day. I just wanted to say that. Yeah. There's just so much amazing stuff going on Wow Superheroes in the world of women's wrestling as a whole. Even in the past few hours, one particular segment has gone completely viral for how amazing it was, and it just continues to raise the bar in women's wrestling. And WoW is also a part of that as well, being the only promotion that's on television syndicated, highlighting women's wrestling in an hour-long format. And I am just encouraging so many people who might be watching this for the first time, or if you're not watching this for the first time, you continue to watch this when we continue to support women's wrestling in all forms, but definitely support WoW and give it a chance and watch the show. Even though I know it might look a little different from your average wrestling show, it is still worth the watch because all these women put forth an amazing effort to put their bodies on the line to give an amazing show, to show that women deserve to be on top in all forms of sports, but most definitely in professional wrestling. Now, the episodes I will be talking about tonight are Call Me Daisy Lane and Top Tier Terrors. Those aired in the past 2 weekends, so we're going to go straight into those. And of course, if you are watching on any one of our platforms on HWP or on In Cat We Trust, thank you so much for watching. And if you're going to watch it later, please watch it later on our YouTube channels and continue to support our vibes and everything that we've got going on. But this first episode, Call Me Daisy Lane, um, started with a recap of Princess Aussie and Tormenta challenging Miami Sweet Heat, the Carlson twins, for number one contendership for the Wild Tag Team titles because they are sick and tired of the Carlson sisters being the only ones, being the loudest ones about wanting to go after the tag titles every time they lose them. So, this episode actually started with this tag team match for number one contendership. We had um we had Princess Aussie and Tormenta the going up against the Carlson twins, Miami Sweet Heat, in order to gain number one contendership for those titles. And this was a pretty good match. I really enjoyed it. Um, hold on one second, guys. Just not showing up on the screen for some weird reason. Um, hmm, that's interesting how that's happening. If you're watching this live in the comments, please let me know if you see the pictures because if not, then I have to continue without it. But either way, um, there these women fought for um the number one contendership for those tag team titles. And when it comes to Miami Sweet Heat, something different that happened this time was the fact that the Carlson sisters, Lindsay and Lori, actually came out by themselves. They did not have the help of their handy manager, the fabulous Lana Starr. It was really interesting to see how that turned out, considering she's usually out there with every member of the Fab Four, but this time she did not come out there with them. And this, you can kind of tell, was playing a little bit of a part in the tag team match. But Lindsay and Lori were um, continuing to go on as much as they could to try to prove that they deserved to be in line for those tag titles. But Princess Aussie and Tormento just were not in the mood for it. So as soon as I get this up, it's just technology is just a really funny thing, isn't it? Hmm. We're just gonna fix that real quick. I hope you guys are having a good night. Ah. And I also hope that on this weekend you're going to see Queen of the Ring, which is the true story of Mildred Burke, who's been mentioned multiple times on WoW Superheroes in the past couple of years. She's very important to women's wrestling history. I'll be able to go see it this weekend, hopefully. So yeah, it's premiered in a lot of different cities. So I hope that this weekend we're running the numbers up for this female-led film. Okay, because it's great. I'm hearing really good things about it. So hopefully we can get that situated. So, like I was saying, um, are you guys able to see the pictures now? Okay, so we're just gonna have to go on. So, Princess Aussie and Tormenta went one on one with the Carlson sisters. Princess Aussie started off the match with Lindsay Carlson to start. Princess Aussie had a series of arm drags to get the upper hand on both of the twins as they tried to use their dirty tactics to try to jump on Princess Aussie because they always try to play her for weak. It's really dumb. Tormenta actually was able to tag in and give an uppercut and double knees to Lindsay, which is something I always enjoy watching her do whenever she runs into her opponents into the corner of the ring. We also saw a wheelbarrow leg drop. Um, which kind of puts you in the mind of Penta and what he does in the ring at times. And it was just really interesting to see that done by yet another iconic lucha wrestler in Tormenta. Then Lindsay and Lori hit a double Boston Crab to Princess Aussie and actually tried to isolate her for most of the match. They gave she's just Princess Aussie sustained even a choke and a drop kick from Lori, and they kept making frequent tags in order to get the upper hand onto her. Princess Aussie continued to fight back as she escaped a suplex attempt and was able to get the hot tag to Tormenta. And then Tormenta hit a drop kick, but then she sustained a Miami Vice from Lindsay and Lori, but she kicked out because these women were not going to give up on their chance to qualify for the tag titles. And I definitely appreciated the fight that they had because I just get so sick of Lindsay and Lori just using all of their dirty tactics to try to get the upper hand on their opponents, or even using Lana Star to cheat. So here again, they can be in the tag title picture. But thankfully, at this point, um, Princess Aussie and Tormenta used their innovative offense and hit a powerbomb neck breaker for the win. And so now the new number one contenders for the Wild Tag Team titles are Princess Aussie and Tormenta. And I'm really excited about that. So, of course, the tag team titles are currently being held by Big Rigs and Bourbon, Jesse Jones, and Big Rig Betty. So I'm more than sure that in the next few weeks, we will see that match take place. But of course, we got to get situated with the whole Fab Four drama, and I will get into that a little bit later. So, match number two in this episode was Pep Riley and Chainsaw versus the Mighty Might, Sugar and Spice. And Pep Riley actually came out in her cheerleading outfit, but had on new makeup. It was interesting. She had on like darker eyeshadow with darker lipstick and everything. It was almost like looking at like a completely different person, but in the still in the cheerleader outfit that we were familiar with. She didn't have her pom poms. It was interesting. And of course, Chainsaw was out there with no Angelica Dante, and Pep Riley had two ponytails instead of her regular one with the rest of her hair down. So, interesting new look for Pep. So, Chainsaw was actually roaring at Sugar, and Sugar decided that she didn't want any of it, so she ran away and tagged Spice. And then Spice and Pep were actually tagged in and hit a lockup. Spice was actually able to hit a monkey flip and a Casadora arm drag series onto Pep Riley to a 2 count. Sugar and Spice really did try their best here with their innovative flying and sort of lucha esque offense. But Chainsaw is, of course, raw power, and also she utilizes fear tactics to get in the head of her opponents. She roared at Spice, and she didn't run away, but then Pep actually covered her for a 2 count. Then Pep actually twisted the arm of Spice and looked to Chainsaw for like some advice and was looking at her like, oh, so what do I do now? And then Chainsaw was like, yeah, do it, right? And then Pep bit the ear of Spice. Think about it. We have never seen Pep Riley bite anybody as long as she has been a WoW superhero. But at the behest of Chainsaw, she bit Spice. And of course, that freaked everybody out. Spice was able to tag Sugar in. Chainsaw actually came in, pushed and clotheslined Sugar multiple times. Then Chainsaw actually hit a shoulder tackle to Sugar, and then Sugar tried to go for a crucifix pin, but of course, Chainsaw was too powerful to stop it. She stopped her mid swing, and then she scratched the abs of Sugar with a claw hold to her leg. And then Pep ran to take advantage of Spice. And then, as the match went on, Pep and Chainsaw wound up winning the match with a crucifix massacre splash. And yeah, they got the victory over the Mighty Mites, who are one of my favorite tag teams. And since they've come to WoW, it's almost like really sad how they'll get a little momentum and then they'll lose. And I'm just like, God dang it. Like, why can't y'all give Sugar and Spice a chance at, glory? Please. But it never happened somehow. And it's just really sad. So Pep and Chainsaw wound up winning that match. But Pep had a little bit more to say. She got the microphone and said, "All right, everyone, I got some bad news," like Wade Barrett. Um, Poor little Pep Riley has taken a back seat. Now, I met Chainsaw and she showed me the light. She showed me I can be who I really am. The little cheerleader that could, well, she just couldn't. And I'm in charge now. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am Daisy Lane. Hence the name of the episode, Call Me Daisy Lane. So Pep Riley is no longer going by Pep Riley. Her name is Daisy Lane. It's pretty interesting how that happened and how that coalesces with the fact that she actually gave Chainsaw a daisy just to be nice to her when their friendship first started. This season. So now, that sort of correlates to what her name is now in terms of Daisy Lane. And it seems like she's just channeling a more aggressive part of herself. And Chainsaw seems to like it. So, hey, this is where we're at. We have Chainsaw and Daisy Lane, no longer Pep Riley. So basically, all of the cheerleading personas are all gone from WoW. And it's really crazy to think about when me and Katrina first started covering WoW, you know. You had Coach, you had Ariel Sky, who was more of a gymnast, but kind of gave off the vibes of a cheerleader as well. And then you had Randy Rah Rah. And then you had Pep Riley come in, and then you had Sasha Sparks. There were a number of cheerleaders, and now all of the cheer personas are all gone. And it's just so sad. It feels like the end of an era. But, evolution has to happen in order for you to succeed. And I guess this is what Daisy Lane feels like she has to do now. So, Daisy Lane it is. So, after this is all over, Chainsaw takes Daisy Lane and lifts her up on her shoulder like the Macho Man did Elizabeth back in the day, and it just seems like a pretty cool friendship that we get to see evolve this season. So, after this, backstage, we get to see Miami Sweet Heat talk about how they just lost to Princess Aussie and Tormenta, and they're just really bummed out about it. And they said, and they talked about how their head just haven't hasn't been in the game since Lana Star has not been coming out there with them, and she seems to be spending a lot of her time with Penelope Pink and Holly Swag, and they don't seem to like this at all. But we're going to talk more about that in the next episode. They feel like the B team, since Lana isn't coming out there with them, they don't feel important enough anymore. And it's interesting how this is happening because if you watch the WoW 24/7 channel, which I do suggest you do if you have access to it on Pluto TV or any other smart television or whatever, if you go back and look, Lana Star has this unique habit, I'm going to call it unique, of investing a lot of time in either a tag team or a single star that she feels like is the next big thing. And she creates them in her image as a protege or whatever. But then it's just like if they're not giving her the results that she feels like she wants immediately, she doesn't just drop them immediately, but she just stops paying attention to them little by little until it gets noticeable. And she kind of did the same thing, I believe. She did the same thing with Faith the Lioness, aka Nikita Lyons. And it looks like a lot of the same thing is happening now with Penelope Pink and Holly Swag and Miami Sweet Heat. But like I said, we'll talk more about that later. So in match number 3, we had speaking of them, Penelope Pink and Holly Swag with Lana Star coming out there with them versus Roxy Fierce and Chantilly Chella. Now, of course, Foxy Fierce is out with injury and she's recovering, so Roxy and Chantilly are fighting in tag team action again. This match started with Chantilly and Holly. Holly tried to use the ropes to pull away from Chantilly Chella, but Chella was not having it. She hit an arm drag series and a drop kick to Holly Swag, and then she hit a splash off of the middle rope, and an elbow strike to Holly Swag, and then she tagged Roxy, who gave a corner splash. And like I said a few weeks ago, Roxy continues to impress me the more she wrestles. Give her a singles run, please. But either way, she tossed Holly like a rag doll into their corner and then tagged Chantilly, kind of playing the same frequent tag games that we see a lot of heel tag teams and WoW use. It was really cool to see that part. Lana, of course, playing the X Factor, pulled Chantilly Chella away, and then Holly hit a backstabber and then tagged Penelope Pink in. And with their frequent tags, they kept isolating Chantilly Chella. Then Penelope Pink and Holly Swag hit the photo op and belly to back suplex onto Chantilly. And then Pink pulled Chantilly away from Roxy as she was trying to reach and tag her. And then Holly and Pink double teamed her. And Penelope Pink hit a cartwheel elbow drop to another 2 count. Chantilly was just not looking to give up here. And then as Holly and Chella were hitting hit a double crossbody, they were able to crawl over to their partners after knocking each other out in the middle of the ring. And Roxy gave a shoulder tackle and clothesline to Penelope Pink and a back elbow and belly to back suplex. Then, once Roxy caught Holly midair and was trying to give a fall away slam, Penelope Pink was getting ready to set up Penelope Pink for another one of her moves, but Lana Starr, here again playing X Factor, distracted the referee so Holly could hit Roxy upside of the head with her sock of rocks so Penelope Pink could get the cover and win the match. So, underhanded tactics plus Lana Starr equals a win for the Fab Four. Hate it. So Lana Starr cuts a promo and she's holding her face as if she got hit in the nose. I don't know what happened. But Lana said, I want you to feast your eyes on the rising tag team stars who did their job tonight with a win. She was throwing shade. They're not just contenders, they're your future Wild Tag Team champions. And Holly Swag chimed in and said, you know what, pretty girl? Because she still calls Lana Starr pretty girl. You're actually right. There's something missing in this group, and I think that now that PP and me are together, the gold's coming back to the Fab Four. And I really think Lana Starr was throwing shade at the Carlson sisters when she said that. Like, this is a tag team that gets the job done, as if alluding to the idea that Miami Sweet Heat didn't get the job done when they fought Princess Aussie and Tormenta, and they did it. But at the same time, you didn't have to throw shade at them like that. Like I said earlier, not the results that she wanted. So she got the results she wanted from somewhere else. So now she's okay with it. But it's just annoying. But you hate to see it. So after this tag team match, we go backstage with Sibley Skulls, and she interviewed Daisy Lane and Chainsaw. And Daisy Lane was talking about how she just feels like a brand new woman, and basically saying that no one will ever overlook them as a tag team. And then when Sibley asked Chainsaw a question, all she said was "Rawr!" And that was it. That was it. "Rawr!" So that was the end of that. I I can't say enough nice things about seeing Sibley on screen. She's so beautiful and just so magnetic in her presence. I wish she was given more time to interview people, and I almost wish that in the time that they gave Nigel Zane to interview Daisy Lane when she was in her Pep Riley persona, I wish they kind of gave that to Sibley instead. Um, but I think I kind of get what they're doing with Nigel Zane in a sense. They make him kind of like the women. He's the women's wrestling historian because he knows so much about women's wrestling. Then on top of that, they kind of make him kind of like the Michael Cole to David McLean being David McLean, and I get that. But I just wish we could see more of Sibley as a correspondent, getting more like serious interviews with the women. But since this season isn't over yet, we still got to wait and see what more is in store for Miss Sibley. But I enjoy seeing her on the screen. She's beautiful. She's talented. Like, hopefully we can interview her on the show either before this month is out or even before the year is out. Either way, I need more Sibley Skulls on my screen. Love her. So we get to our main event, which was Paola Mayfield, the Colombian GOAT, versus Santana Garrett in a rematch. And in this match, Abilene Maverick, the VIP, was banned from ringside, but she decided that she was just gonna strut her happy self out there anyway. And David McClain got on the microphone and said, "Look, you know you're not supposed to be out here. Referee, take her away." And the referee took her away. She was like, "No, you can't take me away." Ah, and that was it. So we didn't see her no more. Paola was distraught about it, but whatever. But at the same time, David also threatened um Abilene with a $5,000 fine if she did not leave the ring. And but she was still fighting to stay. So my thing is, okay, well, if she's the VIP, then I guess she can cough up that kind of dough. Because she really did not want to leave Paola's side, but she wound up having to leave anyway, so she got thrown out. So I guess now she ain't got to pay that $5,000. But if she does want to drop off some $5,000 somewhere, she could give it to me. Anyway, I don't want that lady's money. Um, let's chill. So this match between Paola the Colombian Goat and Santana Garrett was pretty good. Um, I always enjoy seeing more of what Paola Mayfield has to offer as a wrestler because I'm not as familiar with her wrestling work, seeing as she's mostly known as a reality show star. So seeing her go up against a veteran like Santana Garrett was pretty interesting. Paola was using a lot of the dirty tactics that we're used to seeing from Abilene Maverick. She was basically just trying to run away from Santana, even in the first part of the match, which is something familiar from Abilene. She was chasing her, and then at one point, she grabbed Santana and rammed her head against the apron. And Nigel Zane dropped an insane bar on commentary. He said, "We're not having a cookout in Santana's house. That grill is busted." And I said, "Nigel, never change." That gave me the feeling of listening to Vic Joseph every night because he be he be saying some not wild out of pocket stuff, but he be saying some very clever like callbacks to certain things when it comes to certain wrestlers, and I just like listening to stuff like that. So I just really enjoy stuff like that. But hopefully some point we'll get a woman on commentary to say clever things like that. Maybe me, who knows? I don't know. But either way, maybe Veda Scott. Either way, it would be cool. But Nigel said that was an absolute bar. We're not having a cookout in Santana's house. That grill is busted. Watch out, BK Rhythm. So, Paola was actually twisting up Santana's arms into the ropes and was punching her forehead. Santana Garrett was, of course, fighting back from it. And then Paola hit something that was very familiar if you're a Roman Reigns fan. She hit a Superman punch, but I call it a Supergirl punch. She was like, bam! And then she hit a snapmare for a 2 count, and then Paola just kept punching and stretching Santana Garrett backwards and tried to choke her out on the ropes. But with every strike and every knee shot that Paola was giving to Santana, she kept trying to fight back. And finally, Santana was able to move out of the way from a knee strike that she was trying to give. And Santana battled back as they traded shots back and forth and they drove each other into the mat. But Santana hit her eat defeat and a back handspring elbow and her rise and shine and shining star press for the 1, 2, 3. And she got her revenge against Paola the Colombian Goat. So it was a triumphant win for Santana Garrett. I really enjoyed that match. And I was really happy it was fair and square because if it's one thing that I appreciate is the fact that, I mean, Santana, she's like an icon. I feel like she's a very underrated wrestling icon at this point. And considering she has been decorated in WoW, she deserves to have fair matches. So this was really good, and Paola was very game for it as well. And I'm just happy it just didn't have any interference this time. So that was how Call Me Daisy Lane ended. So as we move on, I just want, yeah, okay, I'm just going to move on to the next episode, which came on last weekend. It was called Top Tier Terrors, like I said. And this episode started, it was actually the first episode of the new month because we're in March, first episode of Women's History Month. And it started with the fabulous Lana Star and the Fab Four coming out there. And then Lana Star was actually cutting a promo. She said, "Night after night, the Fab Four come out and dominate this ring. You all doubted us, saying we can't keep doing it, but we keep proving you wrong. Win after win, tag team after tag team, we have the greatest team in WoW. And anyone who gets in the ring with us gets steamrolled. So to the champs, we're not asking for a title match. We are demanding it. And because of this demand, Big Rigs and Bourbon came out and answered what the challenge was. So Jesse Jones, who we're sending big love to as she continues to heal, um, cut a promo saying, "Be it that me and Big Rig Betty are just simple Southern folk. Maybe we're a little confused because you say that you want a world tag team title shot from the champions, right? And there's only one team that the tag champions, that are the tag champions, but there's two teams right there in that ring." Big Rig Betty said that. So, Miss Lana, what we want to know is which one of your fancy little teams is going to want to challenge for these titles. And when I tell you Lana was gagged to even have to answer that question, she was quiet for a minute. But she answered by saying, duh, that's easy. The most fabulous tag team, the most athletic tag team that deserves it. Penelope Pink and Holly Swag. And this left a bad taste in Lindsay and Lori's mouth because they're looking like, huh? Because they really thought that Lana was talking about them. But nope, she was talking about Penelope and Holly. And so Jesse Jones and Big Rig Betty really looked like they either didn't take it seriously or they were just laughing at them like, okay, okay. Really, girl, you're sending them after us for those titles? Fine, whatever. So, and also let me just say, I feel like it's weird that they kind of, well, maybe you could say they skipped the line because Princess Aussie and Tormenta just beat the former tag champions in order to get an opportunity. But I mean, I don't know. We'll wait and see how that turns out this weekend. I hope you're watching Wild Superheroes this weekend. But anyway, Jesse Jones and Big Rig Betty were like, Penelope Pink and Swag. You know what? We don't have a problem with that. That's just fine with us. And when I say Lindsay and Lori looked pissed, they were pissed. So, moving on to the first match of this episode, Top Tier Terrors, we had BK Rhythm coming out with Gigi Gianni, and she was going up against the Albanian grappler and one of my favorites from this new season, Xena Phoenix, who has a fire shirt. Please go cop it. She came out there, all ablaze with her wings and stuff. But of course, since BK Rhythm is out here, you know that we got to get some rapping going on, right? We are here for BK's bars. Well, I'm here for BK's bars. If Katrina was here, she wouldn't be here for it. But, we're going to move on. She said, okay, everybody, pipe down. I got something to say. They say it's a rap when you got my arm. It's either tap or snap. And ooh, I'm in harm. I think your ground game has more holes than Swiss cheese because at the end of the day, I'ma still rock the mic with ease. Now, I will say, since I've been watching this show, that really wasn't one of her strongest bars there, but we'll let it slide because, yeah, we'll let it slide. So, in the midst of this, Xena actually got BK Rhythm into a fireman's carry and tried to twist it into an arm bar, but BK was smart to block it, which is something that we see a lot in MMA and also even in wrestling as a whole. When you see people from MMA sort of transfer over into wrestling, they try to block the arm bar to keep it from, just twisting them up or whatever. But either way, she was trying to go in early for the win. But BK blocked it. And then Gigi Gianni, who was another X Factor in action, she pushed the ropes towards BK's feet in order to break the hold. And I have another bone to pick when it comes to something that Gigi did in this match too. Xena used her grappling skills and maneuvering to get the upper hand on BK, but BK just kept using dirty tactics alongside Gigi, and she was distracting the referee with them. And then BK hit a backsplash and spears and then suplex beat Xena and then hit the album cover and then choked out Xena Phoenix on the ropes with Gigi Gianni. And then Xena actually kicked and hit a roll up to almost get the win, but BK hit a single knee backbreaker to Xena Phoenix. And then BK Rhythm actually hit a straight jacket hold to prove that she can also get her submission game on along with Xena, but Xena broke it up by shifting her weight over to roll her over and then hit an arm drag series and a snap suplex for a 2 count. And then right when Xena Phoenix hit a wrist lock onto BK, Gigi pushed the bottom rope towards BK to grab onto with her free hand right in front of the referee's vision. This made me upset because I'm sitting here like, ma'am, because the referee was Scarlett, and I was like, you, how did you miss Gigi taking her hand and pushing the rope this way, you know, to help your friend? Like by all accounts, you should have sent her out for that type of interference. It was right in front of you. Like, what's going on? But shenanigans. Then BK tried to lock in a mic drop onto Xena, but then Xena reversed it into an armbar, and BK tapped out. So Xena Phoenix wound up getting the win, but she got attacked by Gigi Gianni and she got tossed out of the ring. And BK's arm looked like it was absolutely limp from the arm drag, not the arm drag, from the arm bar that Xena put her in and from all the work that she put on her arm. But either way, Xena celebrated her win outside of the ring. I was hoping that maybe um she would come out, like somebody would come out and help Xena, but I guess that wasn't the case here. So yeah, Xena got the upper hand and we'll hear more from her later. So after this, we go to match number 2, which was Animal Instinct, Goldie Collins, and Katarina Jinx going up against Ashley Blaze and Kara Kai, who David McLean have now dubbed the unofficial dojo defenders in the absence of Terror Strike, because she sustained really bad injuries from the attack that top tier the Wild Trios champion sustained to her. And they came out to basically like take out their frustrations out on Katarina and Goldie, and it was pretty interesting. So, before this match even got started, Animal Instinct was being mad disrespectful towards the dojo defenders. Goldie Collins said, "What a privilege. What an honor for you to see us tonight. Yes, we were told we were going to be facing the dojo defenders, but it seems that Tara has struck out." Another bar. Tara struck out. I like it. And who is Ashley Blaze anyway? And Katarina chimes in, and let's be honest, how could these two have any trust for one another after that debacle with Tara? Oh, I know. Listen, though, we really do feel for poor Tara. I mean, injuries like that have a very stretched out and elongated recovery process, making fun of the fact that her legs and her back were torn up from the Boston crab that Coach Campanelli put on her. And then Goldie Collins said, I mean, who even knows if she'll return? And who really cares? So after they heard that, Kara and Ashley Blaze came out there, ran out there, and started beating up on them before the bell even rang. And Kara and Ashley were not playing any games with these women. Now, of course, Ashley and Katarina got the match started, and Ashley Blaze was twisting up Katarina Jinx, and then she actually tagged Karakai, and then Karakai went in and lit up Katarina with a number of kicks. But Kat actually scratched Kara's back and gave a twisting kick and then tagged in Goldie, who assisted Katarina with a double suplex, which was with a 2 count that was broken up by Ashley Blaze. Ashley Blaze could actually point out Animal Instinct's game plan from a mile away, and that was a general theme throughout this whole match, and I appreciated it so much. Ashley clocked everyone's teeth in this whole match, and I was like, yes, ma'am, be excellent. And even in the moments when Goldie and Katarina were grabbing a hold to Kara and isolating her and punching her to keep her away from Ashley, Ashley had Kara's back every time they tried to cover her for the 1, 2, 3. She was breaking up the pin. She was kicking them in the back. She was snatching them off. I was just like, Ashley, yes, I love this. But then once Ashley was finally tagged in, she decided to go to work. She kicked Katarina and then gave her a senton. But then, just as soon as Goldie tried to break up the count that she had on her, Ashley moved out of the way. So Goldie splashed her own partner, Katarina. And then Ashley proceeded to throw Goldie Collins over the top rope. And she gave the varsity TKO in order to win the match. And Ashley Blaze and Kara Kai got the win, and it was awesome to see because, like I said, Ashley was clocking everybody's tea, and she definitely had Kara Kai's back, which spoke to the chemistry that I was talking about in the last episode with Katrina about how I feel like if Ashley Blaze wanted to join the Dojo Defenders, she could because of their chemistry and because of how well they know each other, even though she doesn't necessarily have the martial arts background that the other two have. But either way, she was maneuvering in and out with them like everything was cool, even in this match. So I'm just like, let her join, let her be in it. And apparently, David McLean had the same idea because he interviewed them after the match. And Kara said that, of course, having this win is bittersweet because, of course, she still has Terror Strike on her mind. But she does have vengeance on her mind as well when it comes to top tier. And then Ashley Blaze promised to take down top tier on behalf of Terror Strike because they are both from the same city. Both of them are from St. Louis, Missouri. So because of that level of loyalty, she wants to get revenge on top tier. But my thing is, the level of revenge I want them to get isn't just on the tag team level. I want them to get it on the trios level. Like I almost want them to low key wait until Terra Strike gets better, so all three of them can go after the trios titles and take them off of top tier. Because as this episode goes on, they just top tier just continues to just be evil, number one, and then just continue to just think that they could just run through people and bully people after beating them down in matches, and it is just the worst thing ever. And who better to teach them a lesson than the Dojo Defenders and Ashley Blaze? So we got to wait and see with that. But either way, it was a really dominating win from Ashley Blaze and Kara Kai. So after that, we get a recap of the friendship of Daisy Lane and Chainsaw and how it got started. And we see more of Daisy Lane sort of like in a vignette where she's eating flowers and playing with the flowers and everything. It was low key given like Harley Quinn mixed in with an like a rabid monster. And I like it. So yeah, Daisy Lane is here and she's ready to just tear everything apart. And I'm here for it. So yeah, and then she was eating flowers. Like it's crazy. But either way, this led into match number 3, which was Chainsaw, of course, coming out there with Daisy Lane versus Tiki Chamorro, who is somebody we haven't really seen a whole lot of this season on WoW, but it is always great to see her because she is such a substantial wrestler and we just love her smiley island vibes. So, I wish we did see more of her this season, but it's okay. Um Chainsaw pushed Tiki to start this match and then grabbed her hair to try to yank her down because, of course, she is a very imposing and powerful woman. But then Tiki, tried to fight back with forearm strikes because she is a tough lady who did play rugby, so don't play her to the side. And then she gets clothesline in the midst of this by Chainsaw, and then she gets her arms bent in the ropes by Chainsaw and Daisy. So Daisy is out here cheating for Chainsaw, which is crazy considering Chainsaw's never really had anybody to cheat for her before as long as I've been watching WoW, but this is crazy. So as the ref is distracted, Tiki gets her bearings together and then um Then she gets knocked down again, and then Chainsaw gives her a leg drop, and then she yanks her nose. But then Tiki actually was able to get Chainsaw tangled in the ropes for her Tiger Fate kick, and gave a headbutt to Chainsaw. But right when she got the upper hand, Daisy Lane trips her up by yanking her backwards underneath the bottom rope. But she gets her head hit in the apron, and right when it looked like Tiki was getting into it with Daisy Lane and she got back in the ring, Chainsaw looked at her like she was crazy, like, leave her alone. And then she gave her a choke slam, and then she gets splashed by Chainsaw, and then Daisy Lane later and wins the match. So, yeah, Chainsaw won, but she didn't win in complete dominant fashion like we're used to seeing. But she did still win, and Daisy Lane just wanted to put her stamp on it by just continuing to wreak havoc on anyone who tries to wreak havoc on Chainsaw. So they kicked her out of the ring, but then we see a friend come out in the form of Kalaki, the island girl, coming out to help Tiki tomorrow. So that was really interesting there. I guess maybe they'll be forming a friendship or an alliance or a tag team pretty soon. But yeah, Chainsaw won this match. And so afterward, Daisy Lane cut a promo and said, "A lot of you may think that I'm Chainsaw's little pet or dolly, but no, Chainsaw belongs to me." So it's almost like she's like a puppet master over Chainsaw instead of, I guess, a friend now. And it's just like, Jesus help. So we just gotta wait and see what happens there. But Daisy Lane is on another level, a whole nother level. So after that, we go backstage. We get another interview from Sibley Skulls with Xena Phoenix, who I feel like at this point has the record of being interviewed by Sibley Skulls the absolute most on this show. I don't know if that just happened on purpose or whatever, but Xena seems to get interviewed by Sibley a lot. No shade, but it's just a pattern that I'm noticing. Um, Xena told Sibley that she feels amazing after, locking in her armbar onto BK Rhythm, and that she had respect for Gigi Gianni as a veteran in the wrestling business because she's still very much new to it. But she didn't like how Gigi attacked her after the match was over. So I'm guessing at some point we'll see those two fight each other. But either way, Xena felt good about the win, and that was really how their interview ended. So we move into the main event, which was actually a non-title match, a non-title trios match between top tier, Crush, Coach Campanelli, and Gloria Glitter against Spring Break 24/7. And this was the first time we've ever seen Spring Break 24/7 as a trio, because we're normally used to seeing them as a tag team with Crystal Waters and Sandy Shore. But of course, they added new WoW superhero Brittany Bay into the thick of things, and now they're a trios team. And I know that on the show, we would sort of feel a little bit sorry for Spring Break 24/7 anytime they would have to fight someone um, that would have the upper hand over them or was more powerful over them in this case. But in this match, they definitely show improved here. But of course, before the match got started, Coach Campanelli decided to get the microphone and run everybody down and talk about how much better top tier is than every other team in professional wrestling. And instead of having the ring announcer I'm blanking on her name right now. Please charge it to my head and not to my heart. Instead of having the ring announcer announce them before their match, they decided to introduce themselves. And I was just like, y'all are just the most. The most. Not even the most anything afterward, just the most. They're the absolute most. And I just cannot wait for the trios team that's finally going to take them down, because stop it. Just stop it. But anyway, the match gets started, and Spring Break 24/7 actually gives, especially Sandy Shore, who we really haven't seen a lot of this season because she also attends college and she's getting her education. She's a marketing major, which I think is really great. Um, if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah, she was in college, so we really hadn't seen her wrestle a whole lot. But for somebody who had not been wrestling on TV in a minute, she looked like she had been in the lab. Miss Ma'am was giving top tier the business in the beginning of that match. Like she was going ham, she was kicking, she was utilizing her quickness to get the upper hand onto Crush. Like it got to the point to where they just like top tier just had to just be dirty in order to knock them down to get the upper hand on them. But either way, I feel like Brittany Bay and Sandy Shore were the two members of Spring Break 24/7 that offered a lot of fight in this match against Top Tier. They were so, so good. But Sandy Shore got caught up because she got trapped in the jaws of Top Tier when she was isolated by them as they've continued their frequent tags and just continued attacking her over and over again. And then Gloria Glitter hit this really impressive move where she had Sandy locked into a master lock, right? But because she's an aerobic queen, she was lifting her knees up into the sides of Sandy Shore. And I know it's crazy. It's a crazy image when you're seeing me do it. But if you were to watch her in this match do it, it makes perfect sense. Like locking someone in a master lock and kneeing the person, lifting your knees into the person's sides. Like that's crazy. Gloria Glitter is someone who I want to be Wild World Champion so bad, but she's in a team right now. But either way, like she's so gifted and I just want to see more of her on her own. But in the midst of all of this, Top Tier winds up getting the upper hand and they wind up winning because of Crush and Coach Campanelli hitting their um finishing move. And then just when it looked like they were about to attack Spring Break 24/7 the same way that they attacked Terror Strike with those sharpshooter with those Boston Crabs, Ashley Blaze and Karakai ran after them to stop them from doing that. And that was how the episode ended. So those are the last two of those. That is what happened on the last two episodes of Wow Superheroes. And we've reached the end of our time together. So thank all of you guys so much for watching on whatever platforms you're watching on right now. Um, Please continue to support women's wrestling in all forms, but definitely, I 110% suggest that if you have not watched Wild Superheroes, please, please, please give it a chance. Um, Something that happens a whole lot in the wrestling community, especially on social media, is that we talk about all of the changes that we want to see in women's wrestling. And of course, it's not wrong to want those changes for bigger organizations and bigger promotions and stuff like that. It's not wrong to want changes there. But I also feel that as a community, we tend to ignore um, the places that are actively seeking to solve the problem because not only do you have WoW, you also have Sukeban, you also have Stardom, and so many other women's promotions that may not even be on television, but still at the same time still exist in some way. And we don't know about them because either we're not exposed to them or we just have dismissed them in our minds. And I want everyone to still give WoW a chance because it definitely deserves it. It's an all-female show that's on television, and even though it doesn't come on live like the other wrestling shows and it has different types of quirky and colorful characters in a way that's different from modern day mainstream wrestling, it is still very much worth your time because these women, like I said earlier, put their bodies on the line the exact same way, just in a different way, in a different format. So please give it a chance if you have not already. And when you do give it a chance, come back and watch me and Kat's post show about it because we love talking about the show. We are definitely passionate about women's wrestling as a whole. And we just want to keep this coverage going and we want to keep this show going. So we can have another alternative to women's wrestling um, to also have and just continue to push for equality in all things when it comes to women's wrestling. So I just wanted to just say that and just get that off my chest. And of course, if you don't know how to watch WoW, you can go on their website, which is wowe.com. That's WOWE.com, and type in your zip code or whatever your city or state is and find out what time it comes on for you on television, or you can watch it on their YouTube page and subscribe to their YouTube page, Wow Superheroes, and watch the matches after they, as they post them the Monday after the weekend it airs. Or you can watch it on Vice Television because it does come on there too, and watch the 24/7 channel on Pluto. And like I said, watch us talk about it all the time. And we also have interviews up from various wild superheroes over the past couple of years. So watch those older ones, and hopefully we'll have newer ones coming down the pipe at some point. But yeah, we love those ladies of WoW, and we love women's wrestling for real, for real. So um, yeah, we're gonna be here for you. If you decide to let WoW into your heart and into your open mind. So this has been Steph and Cat Talk Wow. Oh, also know you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. You can listen to my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, and HWP Extra, everywhere you get your podcast audio wise. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, where you can watch this show and all of my other shows, HWP and HWP Extra, on YouTube at The Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Let's get up to 500 subscribers. And you can also see my other interviews as well. And you can also follow Katrina at In Cat We Trust and listen to all of her stuff and watch all of her stuff. Subscribe to all of her stuff too. And read our articles on Daily DDT. Um, Katrina has a new article with her review of the movie Queen of the Ring, which is the true story of Mildred Burke. And I have actually two new articles. One about Mercedes Moné being the GOAT of women's wrestling, and another one about why Naomi should have won the Elimination Chamber match before everything happened the way it did. So read those. I'm really happy and proud of those and all my other articles as well. So read all of our articles on Daily DDT and just continue to follow us and subscribe to our things because we are growing in major ways and hopefully we'll be able to continue to be positive forces in the wrestling media landscape. So, until next time, this has been Steph and Cat Talk Wild, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. And until next time, bye, y'all. Power to the women.